Hello to all my wonderful viewers, devout disciples, all students, welcome. This is your Master GongSun. Today's story is about reincarnation again. Why do I keep talking about this? Because not only am I super interested in reincarnation, but I believe it is a great way to give us all hope that, not only hope, but it's a fact, the more I think about it, that we have more than one life to live, that our souls remain the same. It's just that our physical bodies, the physical vehicle for our transportation on Earth, is different. And when we die, we're not dying, we're just going back to where we originally came from. But we shed our physical vehicle, like our bodies, because we no longer require them, because on the other planes of existence, it is non-physical, but still reality all the same. So why do we keep coming back? I mean, now that we think hard about this, back to the original topic. So we have these souls. Why do we need to come back? Why not once? Well, if the point of our soul is to gain these experiences, is to learn in order to be more like our creator, to be God, or to be like the Tao, right? I'm just saying this all in terms you might understand. I'm speaking as broadly as possible. Then one lifetime is probably not enough to learn at all. We might need at least two or three. I mean, I have heard of some souls who have had only one lifetime on Earth, but they were already so evolved that they didn't really need more. Only once was enough for them, and that's totally okay. So, back to reincarnation. If we are doing this, then what is the evidence? Well, the evidence is ample. In the past, I talked about the little boy who could name certain events, his own name, and certain details of his life as a World War II pilot fighting the Japanese. And there was this other little boy who was a genius. He was a genius Hollywood record and movie producer. And I even heard some stories about an Indian boy who was reincarnated in another part of India, but he was able to remember his past life in such exact detail. He remembered he was a playboy who would hold these lavish soirees and parties in his mansion. And he would know only details that someone who was the master of the house would know. So here's another story about this lady. I heard about this a few years ago, actually, but now I am examining it more in depth. So it's about this British-born lady, Dorothy Eady, who used to be an Egyptian priestess. Right? Now, I won't read it all. I'll just read a little bit, but I will particularly stress the part where there is evidence of reincarnation. It's knowledge of something that you would otherwise not have known if you weren't if you hadn't done research and if you weren't this person in a previous life. Okay, let's begin first. Born as Dorothy Eady, died as Seti. This is the life of a renowned Egyptologist who claimed to be the reincarnation of an ancient Egyptian priestess. Here's a story for you. A young child falls down some stairs, hits her head, and wakes up completely transformed. A new accent, strange obsessions, unfamiliarity with her own home, and unexplained knowledge. Wow, that's all rather strange. But it makes sense if we factor in reincarnation. A claim of reincarnation, such as the tale of Dorothy Eady, a famed 20th century Egyptologist. Born in London in 1904 to Irish parents, she began, by all records, as a perfectly normal child until she fell down the stairs at the age of 3 and fell unconscious. There is some disagreement over the results of that fall, from claims of brain injury to death followed by sudden revivification. Or rather, revivification. I'm not familiar with that term. I usually use like revival or just coming back to life. Anyway, what is known was that the Dorothy that woke up after her accident was different. Her accent and speech had noticeably changed, and more strangely, she began to ask her parents to return to her home. Wow. I mean, if this was some sort of con job, then she must be the greatest actress in the world. Though she could not explain where her home was, she did persist in asking to return, which worried and confused her parents. At around this time, she was taken to visit the Egyptian exhibit of the British Museum, and while looking around the exhibit, she came across a photo of the temple of Seti or Setai, the father of Ramses the Great. "There is my home," she cried, insisting that she had lived in that temple, before pausing and questioning, "Where are the trees? Where are the gardens?" Wow. So that's how she found it. That's how she was among her people. Wow. All right. Now I want to go to that part where there's more ample evidence, like solid evidence of reincarnation. Where is that? Teenage life, returning home. Yeah, because sometimes we have a certain affinity to something, and we're not sure why. Why are we so good at it? Why are we interested in it? It's hard to say, because for me, I've always been interested in medieval history. This means I lived around that time. I've been French, I've been English, I've been rich, I've been poor, I've been a cardinal, I've been a peasant. And this lifetime, I chose to reincarnate as Chinese. And I think it's because I had lived as a Chinese person before in a previous life, around the Ming Dynasty. I'm kind of drawn to the Ming Dynasty. So it makes sense because you're familiar with something, you keep returning to it because you're familiar. All right, so she went to Abydos. Let's see. Where is that part where... Anyway, this is not the entire story, this article, but I do remember she was able to fascinate Egyptologists by her knowledge of ancient Egypt, and there are things that she didn't know unless she actually were an ancient Egyptian priestess, and she was able to even lead Egyptologists to new discoveries. See, she's helped the researchers and excavators. She believes she was atoning for her sins from her previous life. Yeah, I mean, like, how does she know the preternatural understanding of both hieroglyphics and local ruins? I mean, how do you explain that? Like, why are some people just born with some predilections and affinities towards something, right? Like, we must have done it before in a previous life. I mean, how can a 5-year-old who had never played the piano before, just one day suddenly sit down in front of a grand piano and start playing like Mozart? Right? It's unfathomable unless he actually was some piano musical prodigy in a past life. Yeah, I mean, anyway. You guys can read this by yourself if you're interested, but certainly these are... So there are so many coincidences where it becomes laughable to call it a coincidence. Anyway, this has been your Master GongSun as usual. Keep living in alignment with the Tao.